What if working out is not the solution to what you need right now? And it's creating more of that mental load and stress.
Right.
And so you continually pushing it off hour by hour throughout the day. Again, it's staying in your brain as a habit or something you need to do and creating space instead of just saying, you know what, today I'm just not going to.
Right. Have you looked around recently and been like, there is a lot going on, whether that is what you're purchasing, what you're doing in your life, what you have in your household? Well, if you have, welcome to the Mindset Mirror Connection podcast. In today's episode, we're going to talk about the detox you actually need. No, it's not a juice cleanse that you can do with it over the next weekend. So if you are ready, listen up and lean in as we elevate your mind. All right. Welcome, everyone. The detox you do need, not a juice cleanse. For those of you new to this podcast, we like to banter, talk about what we're watching, what we're doing in our lives, dogs, puppies, dogs, babies, not puppies, and anything else. So if you don't want to listen to that, you can look at the show notes to fast forward to the info what we're talking about today. How was your weekend?
It was good. We did Harper Happy Hour Friday, of course.
Do you do Harper Happy Hour at home?
No, we go out.
Oh, okay.
Because we say like, we got to go out. We got to practice. And then so for example, this time what we did is I ordered first so I could eat. And then Michael ordered like 10 minutes later. So then he could because usually we both order at the same time. I eat, he holds baby, then I hold baby, he eats.
It's cold.
Yeah. Gotcha. So then we tried that. So it's like figuring out what we need while we're out. So like we also learned, because now that she's like each day she's just getting more aware and more like grabby. So then I was like, oh crap, like we need toys now to come. So like what kind of toys do we bring? Whereas when we first started, she just kind of sat and was like observant.
Yeah.
So it's been good for us to just learn. And like, so this time too, we actually went a little bit further from home because we try and be home by like 5:30 at the very latest, because that's when she starts to get cranky. So it was one of those of like, how far can we go from home? And like, how does she do? And what happens if we get home? Like, does it kind of mess with her or anything? So yeah.
This will be interesting once you have another child.
Oh yeah. We're going to be rocked.
Yeah. I'm like, no, because you know, they always say like the firstborn is usually the one with the most anxiety, like the rule follower, because their parents are so kind of rigid. Right. But I almost feel like you are giving yourselves like flexibility and like meeting her needs, but meeting your needs. But then if another child, when she's older and a newborn is involved, like what does that look like? Not in a bad way.
Yeah. It'll be interesting because even we've talked about like, you know, because a lot of times when we go out, we see kids on iPads.
Oh yeah.
And if a parent feels like that's right for their family, that's totally their thing. But for us, we just don't feel like that's right for our family. Or a good fit, I guess I should say. And so we kind of have been talking about like, is there going to become a point where we can't go out with her anymore? Right. Just because it's too much, right? Where it's not even like enjoying dinner anymore and like learning a new dynamic or a new kind of like team effort. And so we're wondering like when that's going to happen.
You should buy, I was just watching TikTok. They were showing like a car detailer and it's this little thing. You should bring that to a restaurant. So when she gets older and she's just throwing shit everywhere as a former server, you better clean that shit up.
Dude,
girl.
I know. That's what I used to hate. Like, you remember they would give their kids the sugar packets?
Oh, yeah.
And then they would be all torn up and like wet on the table. The crayons would be all broken and like all peeled. And I'm like, yeah, no, I'm not going to do that. Like, we're not.
It's so bad.
It's
Luckily,
so
I worked
annoying.
at a sports bar. So like rarely did we have like
kids,
little babies, but sometimes we did.
Yeah.
You know where I actually encountered that is when I worked at Super Salad in high school.
God, talk about old school.
Old school. I fucking loved Super Salad.
That was like where it had all the soup, like almost like a salad bar of soup, wasn't it?
There was no, yeah. So you had the full salad bar.
Yeah.
So you had all the salad, and then there was like pastas, potatoes where you could put like chili on it. Then the soup.
Yeah. Okay.
Then you had like your breads.
Okay.
Dude.
Yeah. I remember that. I remember being like,
looked around.
When I was little, I remember it from California and being like, whoa, all this like soup.
Yeah. Well, there was Soup Plantation too.
Oh, maybe that's what I'm thinking.
And then
that
there
would
was
be more,
the other
Soup
one.
Plantation.
But no, I liked going. So as a kid, like Sizzlers, anything that had a salad
with
bar. Yes. Salad with it. I love salad bars. I still to this day, I listen, like Jason's Deli has
they've got a good salad bar.
Well, the problem is now that they're condensing their
Jason's Deli is?
Yeah, they're condensing like their restaurant, so it's just like a order and go. So speaking of TikTok, welcome.
I know.
She's on the TikTok, everyone. Tell everyone where they can follow you.
Fitbyamanda.az. Yeah. I just made it consistent.
Yeah. What do you think so far?
I think it's easier than Instagram.
Listen.
I was
like algorithm. Have you seen Deja Vu?
Yeah.
The TikTok?
Yeah.
Dating Deja Vu?
So. Yeah. I follow it.
The fucking charts.
Is it really?
Yes. Huh. Yesterday's post, 250 likes, 20 saves, 1,600 views. The one from Friday has 4,500 views. Jesus. No, I'm sorry.
Yeah, well,
like a lot.
With our meeting with Ira, when she was talking about it and suggesting it, I was like, oh, okay. Like it's something I could consider. And then I was talking to my cousin who's the Gen Z or whatever, the below us.
Yeah.
Or she falls on the line, but she's like, because she sent me this guy. She's like, this is who I used for like my not motivation for working out, but like kind of my direction for working out. And I was like, dude, that's the same message we have. And she goes, you have to get on TikTok. Like your stuff will hit so much better on there.
Yeah.
And she's like, even just you, like little 15-second videos of like whatever you're thinking about being a mom, just that, like all the same shit Ira's saying. And I was like, all right, I've got the universe talking to me.
Yes. Well, I was thinking about it today when I was getting ready. And I honestly think you take your
mommies.
The YouTube video stuff and have Ira condense it to like 10 minutes because you can go up to 10 minutes on there.
That's what I saw.
Yeah. Or shorter and like start from the beginning.
And then I might have her do that then because
I'm not, you can start building
the videos because that's what I'm kind of like, well, I don't like, there's only so much I want to post in a day. You know what I mean? And that's not because of the algorithm, but because I have other shit to do.
Right.
And so, I might have her do that then because, I'm kind of not done with that. Like we talked about last week, like nothing's really changing right now. I'm just kind of writing it out.
No, I think that would be,
I should do that.
Because they love, like people love just like that raw kind of open conversation. Yeah. It's interesting because what hits on TikTok doesn't hit on Instagram and vice versa.
That's what I know. Well, and what hits on YouTube and the shorts does not hit on Insta. And because I've been watching our shorts and then like I'll post a short for the Rebuilding Amanda and then I'll post on Instagram, hits on YouTube, does not hit on Insta.
Yeah, Instagram's being weird.
I know.
Like my post yesterday has 4,000 plus views.
Oh, really?
Which was a great conversation, which we're going to do a podcast on. Yeah. I said, if you start eating or if you
think about it, brain fog. Did you take your Wellbutrin today?
I did. If you eat when you're actually hungry. If you start eating, if you only start eating when you're actually hungry, you will only stop eating when you're actually full. But you have to have it's something.
Yeah, something catchy.
What we're not realizing, and we're going to have, like I said, a pod on this, is if you're not actually hungry, your ghrelin hasn't been released. So then the leptin doesn't get the sign to release. And that is why people, when they eat out of emotions, have trouble stopping. I'm doing a continuing education.
The mate
to do it's a binge eating certification. And they taught me that.
That's good because I like somehow this fitness influencer popped up and they were like a wellness coach and then wellness coach certified by something.
Yeah.
And so I was like, click. And then this like brand certifies wellness coaching now. And I'm like, okay, but what if they like, again, what if they have a real like thing here and you guys are just certifying people?
Yeah, that's what do. So I am taking on my first, I think we're going to have a conversation today. My first.
Who? You and me?
No.
Oh.
I guess you would call it mentee, but she's going to pay me in the method. So she'll have to go through the method. And I'm going to help her build her business because she was going to buy one of these courses.
Stupid.
And I'm like, absolutely not. Do not waste your money. I will take you on as a life coach client.
Yeah.
You can go through our process. Plus, I can show you how to build a business because we've been doing this.
Is she a trainer?
She's a trainer and a social worker.
Oh.
And that's how we connected. Yeah.
Okay.
And so she's like, I don't know, like they want, it was like $6,500 for 6 months or something like that. And I was like, no, something outrageous.
Yeah.
I mean, we all spent all crazy money on
Right.
stupid shit. And I was like, if I can at least keep you from doing that and help you customize what you want to do toward your vision, then this is an option for you. So I want to use it as an opportunity for me to see how we can begin to coach coaches on the method. The problem with that is I don't want to be one of these other people who have had success in business, but haven't scaled it to where I want it to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I need to be able to scale this
to
where I want it to be before I need to teach anyone else how to do that, because they're just going to hit a certain point. Now, maybe for certain people, making what we make per month is enough for them. But for me, like I want to learn from like Adam from Mind Pop, right? Like how he scaled that business, because he's the guy who did all that. He scaled it. Like that's who I want to learn from. I don't want to learn from someone who had one $10,000 a month and was like, I'll teach you how to have 10,000. That happens all the time in this business. I'm like, try stringing along
10,000 months, 10,000 months.
Yeah. Or more.
Yeah.
Like there's not been a time in our business where we haven't hit our like minimum goals. And I have those set high.
Yeah.
And it's because we're continuing.
That's true, because I could teach someone how to do the in-person, because I was making 6 to 10 a month doing that.
Love it.
I know. And but like, and I consistently each month it would get a little bit higher, a little bit higher, a little bit higher. But then, and again, that fluctuates because I would count in other things too. But it was like, I don't like the next scaling part for in-person would be like, well, then you got to do small group, and then you would need a bigger facility. And it's like, I don't have that knowledge of like how to run that.
Yeah.
Like I know how to do it, but the practical application.
Right.
And it was also like, and that's not something I'm really interested in. Like, I don't want to do small group training.
Yeah.
And then go and rent like space out of a facility.
Nope.
What did you do this weekend?
What did I do this weekend? Oh, I went to look for a new car.
So you guys are getting rid of the 4Runner?
Yeah, because it's old.
Yeah.
I mean, we only owe $5,000 on it, but we
tariffs.
We have $2,500 to $3,000 in maintenance coming up. Our registration's coming up. You know?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, okay. So interestingly, we had 4 places we were going. And for those of you who don't know, I used to do marketing in the automotive industry. And if you're wondering how that happened, it was on a break between doing clinical work as a therapist and creating this company.
Yeah.
And actually afforded me the time to create this company, which thank you. So I have a lot of relationships in that area. And because I'm unforgettable, these people are still willing to help me.
Yeah.
So we had 4 cars. So right now we drive a 4Runner for those listening. We had the Lexus GX, which is like the luxury. So I'm going to go from the top down. Lexus GX, which my uncle's like, you've got to get that. He works for Lexus too.
Okay.
Originally the Lincoln Aviator.
Oh,
the new 4Runner. No, you're thinking the Navigator.
Oh, okay.
New 4Runner.
I like.
And then the Telluride. Okay.
Okay.
So went to see my friend Josh, saw the Telluride first. Now, for those of you, again, listening, we need technology, because Mark and I drive either 2 minutes away or 20,000 miles across the country. There is no in between, because if we're going in between, normally we're just going to Uber somewhere, because I hate parking. I don't want to drive. I mean, I can drive now because you're sober consuming. Yeah. So, but even then I don't want to drive. So the technology is more, and the comfort is more for us. So Telluride, great technology. Do I love the way it looks? No. I feel like I look like a mom car. I don't want a mom car.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's okay. I don't like
it
either.
And I told them that. So they're like, get the highest model. It doesn't look like the mom car. And it was fine. Went to see the Lexus. I love the outside. Looks like a Jeep. Like not a Jeep.
I like
like
the
a Range
looks.
Rover.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm like, okay, love this. But the inside wasn't great.
That's how I felt about Audi.
Yeah. Then went to see the 4Runner. 4Runner's inside is the same as the Lexus because they're the same company.
Right.
But no one has any in stock. So I couldn't even see the one that
you wanted.
I wanted. And looked at the Land Cruiser, but the Land Cruiser is all-wheel drive. So then you have to replace all 4 wheels.
Yeah.
I'm like, fuck that. So we go to Lincoln. Now, I've never owned an American-made car.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I'm an import girly. my boyfriend in high school raced cars.
Yeah.
So when I bought my first car, it was a Acura Integra. I was sick. So we go to Lincoln and we're looking at the Aviator. Now, we saw the Lincolns at Barrett-Jackson a couple of years ago, and I was like, this car is sick. But for some reason, I thought we couldn't afford it. Maybe it was just the MSRP price on the.
It's also Barrett-Jackson.
Correct. So we're walking, looking at the Aviators, and I'm like, wait, is that the same car? And he's like, no, that's the Nautilus. And I was like, I want to see that. That was the car we saw at Barrett-Jackson.
Oh.
That car is insane. The entire front of the car. So the dashboard, right, is this whole screen all the way across. Okay. So you have your little dials here. You have your like music air here. I don't remember what was over here, but it's just like insane, the technology, like the way, like it's like you can like drag, even the air conditioning is all touch. So you have to like, he was showing us drag certain things. Anyways, has massaging seats.
I have massaging seats.
Yeah. Heated and cooled, obviously. It's hands-free driving, hybrid. It has the Calm app. So when you stop somewhere, you press, I forget what it was called, like retreat. All the seats go down. The entire screen turns to a waterfall, and it does 5 or 10 minutes of the Calm app. I know, but listen, you have to remember driving across country, like that shit. I'm like, fuck yeah, I need that, right? This is the best. It has aroma.
Oh,
so like you can press and you can buy these little things, and it like, so say you get like Chinese food, and then you're
like, I want to smell like lavender.
Yeah, when I get into it tomorrow. So it has like this aroma thing. I mean, all of the tech, like it's nutty. And I'm like, okay, so because of, I don't know what, they have employee pricing for Lincoln. And also we found it was Motor Trend's SUV of the year, 2025. So I was just texting with Adam, who's reviewing my deal right now. So I think I'm buying a Lincoln.
So next week you might have a new car.
Not fucking next week. Go when get it today.
Yeah. I hate car shopping.
See, that's the thing. I literally like boom, boom, because I go straight to the GM. They're like, listen, just show her the car. Yeah. If she wants it, she'll be back. Like, don't fuck with her. It's great.
Yeah. I make Michael do it all.
Best. So that's what I did this weekend.
That's good. Are you still sober too?
Yeah.
No drinks,
which is funny. I feel like Mark just feels so boring.
Yeah.
But again, like I said, I think I said this to you, like no one's asking us to do anything. So apparently we don't have any friends. No one asks us to do anything. It's always me asking people to do stuff. And I'm like, cool. Well, guess I'm not going to do that anymore. Actually, that is a perfect segue into what we're talking about today, because I have noticed with not drinking that I don't talk to people and they're not really reaching out. Now, I will say Elena did reach out. So Elena reached out and she's like, do you want to go to Taste, which is one of the events at like, I think it's like the Riverwalk in Scottsdale, but you know, the tickets or whatever, but it includes all these different restaurants, but then it also includes drinks. Yeah. So it's like, I mean, the Steak 44 was there, Mastro's, like our Maple and Ash, not Steak 44. So you get all these different bites at different places, and then there's drinks. So she's like, I don't know if you want to go, because I know you're not drinking, but she did invite me and she checked in. So we love that. But kind of thinking of like this detox of, you know, I'm detoxing my body. So there's that. That is causing me to kind of reevaluate the people that I see or don't see. And then it makes me go on TikTok and watch cleaning videos. So I'm like, maybe it's detox season. So I figured we talk about the detox that you didn't realize you needed.
Yes. Well, and this is different than our detox schme talks.
Right.
Because that was more so of like talking about like the actual detoxes that are promoted by like influencer of like the juice cleanses and all that, where this is more like how to declutter life. Like, what's that lady that If it doesn't bring you joy.
Marie Kondo.
Yeah.
Kondo.
I don't remember.
Like
I never
that, yeah.
watched it because I was like, I already do all this. So
yeah.
So that's more so of what we're talking about, as
Yes.
opposed to like cleansing your liver.
Right. Well, and detox from a physical standpoint, your space, detoxing your calendar, detoxing what takes away from your energy, because everything feels like it's at max capacity for me right now I shouldn't say right now, say around 2 or 3 weeks ago, everything felt like a lot. And I just have pulled back and I've added things, but those things provide me this mental space to take away from other areas, if that makes sense, like in a positive way. So, all right. Normally when we're feeling a certain way, we go on Google or ChatGPT or TikTok and like look for solutions. So we usually buy something. You don't feel good, you're going to go somewhere, you go on TikTok, go on Instagram and try to figure out what's wrong with you and then buy that thing from that person. If you have an event, this is another funny thing. You have an event, obviously you're going to buy some outfits for it and add to your closet, even though you probably have something in there. If you want more, like you are doing a new training program or you're trying to lose weight, you're going to add another podcast, another freaking diet program, another book that you're going to read. And it's just like adding. But too much clutters, right, can cause analysis paralysis. Thank you. Too many to-dos and too many shoulds, right? And carrying all of that can be subconsciously and consciously exhausting. And we want to declutter those 4 places. So again, we're talking about your physical space, your mind, your habits, and your relationship, because every single one holds energy. So let's talk about the easiest one, I think, physical space. Yeah. It's spring cleaning.
Well, and now I'm a lush for throwing shit out.
Well, you have 2 types of people
that live together.
You have the throwers and the keepers.
Yeah, I'm a thrower and Michael's a keeper. And so every time he leaves, I try and like throw stuff out. But this is like, so I always like to kind of keep a box, like an Amazon box in my closet, because I'll go through my clothes like you were talking about, like instead of buying more clothes, like let's get rid of the clothes I'm not wearing already. And I think this is really important for some of our clients listening. Let's get rid of the clothes that don't fit you anymore.
Right.
Stop looking at them going, oh, I wish I still fit in that. I'll keep it just in case, or vice versa. I'm going to keep this just in case I gain weight again. And that way I don't have to buy clothes. Get rid of them. And even like we talked about this for pregnancy. And then going into postpartum, like in pregnancy, my clothes aren't fitting anymore. And so it's like, I just need to buy clothes that fit my body then. And then postpartum, it was, okay, I need to buy clothes that fit my body now.
Right.
And that really made a big difference on my mindset of just having things that I could put on and I wasn't like feeling stuffed in them and that I felt comfortable and relaxed in.
Yeah. No, I think that's important. One thing that I'm doing is I always go through my clothes and, throw things out. It is funny because I'll justify keeping some things, not because of just
or
for
like
an
like
event.
Just in case, like if I need like a New Year's dress,
or it's like, oh, this Hawaiian, jumpsuit for this Hawaiian party I'm going to, I'm not invited to. So what I ended up doing, because I have these podcasts I'm speaking on, news things, all of that, is I now did the subscription model.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. So I did that before when I worked in sales,
which makes sense.
Yeah, it's the best.
So this is the subscription model where you get the stuff, like rent the runway and you return it. Okay.
Yep. So I did Newly. I get my package today.
Really?
And I got 6 items. So every time I go on the news or whatever, I can just
wear that new. And then you send it back.
Yeah. Or just wear something new.
Wow.
Yeah. And even like clothes for the weekend. Like I just got a couple jumpsuits that if I like them, like I can keep them, but I can just send them back too.
So Newly is a thing for pregnancy too.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Because I was looking at it and I was like, oh, that's interesting.
I think that's a really smart thing to do. If you're postpartum, why buy the fucking clothes?
No.
Yeah. Like I want people to realize like the mental like anguish, of having too much stuff, buying clothes when like you're going to eventually grow out of them or lose weight, right? Pregnancy clothes, maybe you're only having 1 kid and now you just have all of these clothes. Like clutter in general is proven to cause anxiety. It's proven to cause a lot more stress in your life. It's proven to affect your sleep. And so not only can we find ways to declutter our physical space, but then we have all of these new rent to own or rent to rent subscription models, especially for clothing. I think that's a huge one, because then you're not like, oh, like those are my like you said, pre-pregnancy clothes. Right. It's like, no, I don't even see them.
Yeah.
Because I just send them back.
Well, and like, why? Like for my pregnancy clothes, I like literally folded them up and they're in Olivia's closet now. Cause I'm like, well, I don't want to buy new ones. Like, and it's like some of them are leggings and stuff, like workout clothes. So it's like, well, fuck. But even like talking about like the mental space that holds. So for example, Michael has clothes that don't fit him. And I've been like, we should get rid of them. He's like, no, like he holds on to them in hopes. And you can tell like when I bring it up, like it's almost like this defeated kind of sensation of like, he doesn't fit in those clothes anymore.
Right.
And I'm like, honestly, hun, like those clothes are like 10 years old. Like they shouldn't fit you anymore.
Yeah.
And you're like, we need to realize that. And even thinking of like going into somebody's house now, if some people have different standards of how they keep their house, and that's fine. But like, think about when you walk into a disorganized room, that how your brain feels, that's what's going to manifest. And that's where the anxiety is coming from. That's where the depression is coming from. That's where the inconsistent sleep is coming from, because now that disorganized space is disorganized brain.
I grew up in a household that was messy. It wasn't
really
dirty. It was messy because my parents owned a business, and like they would bring the money home and then we'd sit there and roll it into the little quarter things. Remember that back in the day?
Yeah, but like what?
Because they owned vending machines. And they owned, like,
really?
Yeah, okay. Restaurant. So we had a lot of quarters. Okay. And then money, like, and so we had that thing that and does all the money, and then you put the paper. Wrap it with the paper. So it was like
take
shit
it to the
all
bank.
over and that was all on the kitchen table.
Yeah. So then you don't have dinner at the kitchen table.
Right. Which we did too. Like so I hated the messiness of it all. So my room was always immaculate, like perfectly decorated. Like I had this wall. Remember back in the day, like buying your friend balloons?
Oh yeah,
was the jam. Like you were special if you got like aluminum balloons. Oh yeah. So I had them like on my wall, and then whatever. So now, because my household was also chaotic, I associate that space with like a messy space with chaos. So it's so cathartic to me to go through, and I talked to you guys about this a couple weeks ago, like underneath my sink. And what I do is my old brain would have been like, I'm going to clean this whole house. Right. But you could do it in a weekend where you just choose, okay, I'm going to do under the sink right now. And then this drawer, and then I'm going to take a little break, and then I'll come back and I'll do this drawer and this drawer. And then I'm going to take a little break, and then I'm going to go, maybe one day you do the closets, right? And so it provides me such peace and calm to declutter and get rid of stuff.
Yeah, me too.
Right? And you can donate it, which is nice, which you're giving back.
Yes, although there are some fallacies that we don't need to discuss on this podcast about that, but go ahead.
I will donate it to people like
that know
Caesar.
Yeah.
Or Santos is our he does our landscaping.
Okay.
Yeah. So like, or even like our neighbors next door, the guys, like if we have something like, especially if it's like booze, I'm like, do you want this? So that's more my jam. Or even like the girls, like Jordan, for example, there'll just be things that I don't wear, but they're not bad. Like, and she doesn't necessarily buy herself a lot of stuff. So I'm like, hey, come raid my closet.
Yeah.
But I want you to think about when you're looking through the clothing, when you're looking through the drawers, the dresser, whatever, does this item support the life I'm creating? Right now, say that you're Michael, right? And you're like, well, I want to create a healthier life, right? I even think getting rid of some of those older clothes, because if you're creating this new sense of self, getting healthier, focusing on you also kind of want to zhuzh yourself up a bit. We probably shouldn't be wearing those 10-year-old clothes, Michael. Right? I mean, I can't say that. Mark has like Banana Republic button-ups that he's had since we met.
Yeah.
But he dry cleans them, and like,
we're talking about Michael.
Yes, this is true. Well, I see you in his shirts sometimes, and I'm like, I'm going to cut that shirt off of you.
Oh, well, that's because I'm at home.
What is this shirt that like says?
There's so many.
Yeah.
There's a lot. But that's because I'm at home and like to wear like normal shirts, like when you're breastfeeding is just annoying.
I know. That makes sense. But so if it's not supporting,
we'll keep that in mind when we have our meetings.
Yes. No, it was something it wasn't our meetings. I think it was on your
call.
I think it was on Instagram. Yeah. And I was like, what did she
probably
shirt? Anyways. Hey, YouTube, today's giveaway, yes, we're starting this, is the Self-Mastery Method, which is a self-led program on my mindset method. All you have to do is comment below on this podcast, and we are going to randomly select the winner, and you will get access to that program for 4 months and be able to work through the entire method and join along with all that we do. Now, back to the show. So a life I'm creating, if I want to have more peace in my life, I actually this morning went through and cleaned this entire studio.
Looks good.
Yeah. It's just because I hadn't done it yet. And obviously there's not a lot of that comes through here, but just be able to like look down at this and there not be dust on it, and then over there, I don't know if it's because of that black sign, there was like some debris at the bottom. So just cleaning it out. Right. So if I want peace, and I know we have differing opinions on this, but like, I just like to create that, like in my mind, like I'm creating this version of myself that is, put together all the time and like the area is clean. And like that for me brings me a lot of peace. It makes me feel almost like when I dress up and like I like have, and I dress like this when you're here or not.
Yeah.
I don't know what it does for me. It does give me some sense of like empowerment towards who I am and what I want to display for others.
Well, that's something you value.
Yeah.
That's part of your values. Like, it's like when I tell a client, like that are going to take a week off and they're like, oh, if I take a week off, I'm scared I won't go to the gym. I'm like, but we value working out now. Like, that's just part of you.
Right.
And there isn't like a question to it. It's just one of the things that you uphold about yourself.
Yeah. And so I think the space is a lot like that too. Yeah. Like it's what you could be put together in your house.
Well, that's how I'm. Like I like for me so much. Obviously, I'm a lot more lax with how my presentation of self. But my home, it's very important that it's not like chaotic and messy.
Yeah, I
like
love your house.
Yeah, and so I don't like. And Michael's like, who cares? I'm like, because it's just a presentation, of who we are, and like I like things to be put together. Yep. And I've had to let go of some of that, obviously, because of a kid. Like it's funny that we're talking about this today, because like this weekend I was like, God, I would just love to like clean my own house like for a couple hours on the weekend. But it's physically, it's possible, but it would become not a couple hours. It'd become like a 3-day thing just between taking care of the baby and stuff. So
yeah.
Well,
you're allowed to live in a space that calms you, right? It's important for your mental health. It's important for your space, so you're not like getting rodents or whatever. I know that one really is doing that, but if you need to shed the clothes, whatever's underneath. My biggest thing is like beauty products because I have those that Fit Fab Fun subscription, and then I had another subscription.
Well, and then your cousin too,
and then my cousin, yes. So I have all of this stuff, and I'm like, I don't need this. So I literally will just throw a bunch of stuff away, or again, put it in the. Do you guys want this bag? So clean out your shit physically, clean up your space, create that calm space for yourself.
Well, and then that's a good segue into the mind of like how your mind receives when we clean up our space, but essentially going into the mind specifically of like cleaning that out, and meaning like you listed a bunch of habits that someone wants to do. And then it becomes like this burden. Like I didn't drink my 100 ounces of water. I didn't get my 100 grams of protein.
That everyone's talking about on Instagram. He's like a life coach, and I haven't watched the video, but Nick Vile talked about it. Adam from Mind Pub talked about it. Like everyone's talking about it. And he like wakes up at 4. He has his mouth tape. He does his journal.
Oh
he does
my God.
This.
Yeah.
Which is funny because I technically do that.
Yeah.
Every morning.
But that's you.
But it's like, it's just funny.
Well, I think with the negative part, so many negatives about social media is so many people are sharing like my morning routine to really set my day up.
Right.
And so you see like, okay, someone's mouth taping, someone's journaling, someone's doing like working out, then they're getting their water, then they're getting their like that. I should be doing all of that.
Right. But
you don't. And that's okay. Right. So like relieving yourself, giving yourself permission to not do other people's habits and to focus just on one
Right.
is okay.
Well, we have to realize from a mental standpoint, like our old stories, our perceptions of ourselves, our unprocessed feelings, our doubt, like that's all cluttering our mind, right? So not only are we not doing the thing, but we're perceiving ourselves in a specific way. So watching that other person do that is going to make us feel even worse. And so I would say the mental clutter has more of an impact than any of the clutter we're going to talk about today. Because if I walk into, and it was funny, I did this today. Mark uses that orange, yellow, and white blanket that's always on the back of the couch. He's the only one who uses it. I wake up at 4. I make him stay in the room till 4:45. I don't make him.
Oh, I was like, why?
He stays in the room till 4:45 and like looks at his phone.
Yeah.
I wake up. I sit down, I do my Panda planner, I do my journaling, I read from my 101 essays. Then I will have my pre-workout snack and then coffee. That's a new thing I've been doing because I actually wake up hungry, but then I would have coffee. And I'm like, no, you're hungry. Eat. Yeah. Right. So I'm in this whole. Yeah. So then he comes out and he uses that blanket. I go in the gym, work out. Take Liberty for a walk. When I walked in today, that blanket was not folded. Every day I have to fold that blanket. Yeah. Like when I walked in today, it wasn't folded. And every day I'm like coming in and folding it. And when I was in a really negative headspace, that would have pissed me off. Today, it kind of was like, come on, dude, just fold the blanket. But I wasn't wanting to go after him because my perception, like what was going on in my head, my emotions were different than if you would have caught me like a month ago when I was just like, ah!
I think a good example for this, again, going back to like clients and training and whatnot, is they have like today, I'm going to work out today, right? I'm going to work out today. Then something comes up, and they're like, I'm going to try and get to it. And I always thought like, what if you just like choose not to work out and just take it off your plate? Right. Once you've done that, it relieves a lot of like the stress of like, oh my God, I got to get to it at some point. But I know like, I just don't really want to, and they do that mental battle. And so I always encourage people like, just choose not to. Just say, you know what, I'm just not going to work out today. And that's okay.
Right. What if you, and I did this with a client who was struggling with that exact thing. I said, what if you just go into that room and use that as time for yourself?
Yeah.
Whatever that looks like.
Right.
One day it might be a workout. One day it might be stretching. One day it might be some breath work. Like if you can just, if the goal is to do something good for yourself and you're just assuming working out is the only thing, then what if we just have that be your time?
Right. Well, and what if working out is not the solution to what you need right now? And it's creating more of that mental load and stress.
Right.
And so you continually pushing it off hour by hour throughout the day. Again, it's staying in your brain as a habit or something you need to do and creating space instead of just saying, you know what, today I'm just not going to.
Right. I know I do that. But what we want to think about when we're cleaning out like the mental clutter is like what thoughts kind of get stuck on repeat, right? What are the cognitive distortions, those kind of I should or minimizing positives, kind of focusing on what you don't have, what you're not doing, how you don't look, even just those criticisms towards yourself, like really focus on what has been on repeat. If I look at myself this time last year, what have I been saying to myself in my head over and over again? And then what story am I still carrying that no longer feels true for me? So if you are someone who's listening to this podcast, I would assume that you are health driven or at least trying to learn. So what story have you been carrying that maybe now that you're on this journey is no longer true for you? I think you in postpartum have let go of
a lot.
And I wouldn't say postpartum just like body image wise, but like in your parenting, in your household, I think you've let go a lot of things that if you kept them would have created more mental clutter, which would have created more reactivity or even dissociation.
Yeah.
Right. And so I think that's super important. And then one of the things we're working on in the reset right now, because we went through the body image audit, is whose voice is this? Like, is this my voice, like the self, or is this what I think other people are saying or what I should be doing, and etc.
Well, that's a good point though, of talking about like the toxic resilience and like why someone can't be still, why they're addicted to that chaos, or is like, if you're just laying there, maybe that is self-care for you.
Right.
But mentally, if you're like, oh, if I lay here like I'm lazy, I should be doing this. The shoulds, like you talked about with the client. Then it's like untangling that and then giving yourself permission of like, oh, that's my mom talking, or that's my aunt, that's my grandma, or whomever it is in your life that impose that thought that you can't rest.
Right.
Rest equates to whatever thing you make up about yourself. Again, that's another mental clutter to be aware of.
Yeah. One of the things we use is so simple, just like, we're not doing that right now.
Yeah.
Right. Or
yeah.
you can even think about, honestly, guys, like, because we're talking about detox or decluttering, write the thought down and throw it away.
Oh,
literally.
That's a therapy
Write it
thing.
down, throw it away. Every time you're like, nope, this is trash. This is trash. This is trash. And eventually you're going to be like that, like, you're not going to have the reaction from that thought. So the conditioned response of thought, then action, that whatever it is, whether that's picking ourselves apart or reacting to our partner, whatever the negative reaction is to that thought, because you're not giving it the same reaction, the thought eventually will quiet down. Doesn't mean it goes away. Right. Quiet down.
Would you say if you like say it out loud is the same like thing mentally that happens, or is it more so of like I'm writing it out, throwing it in the trash is more physically profound?
So there's actual research that shows that when you have this is more around emotion, but if you have emotion of fear and you just say that's fear, your nervous system calms down in that moment because you're labeling it, you're kind of categorizing it in your mind. That is fear. I'm okay.
Yeah.
And you're not judging it.
Okay.
You're just calling it what it is. You're an observer into yourself. That is fear. It calms it down. So the same should be true of that's the thought of blah, or that's the voice of mom, or it's categorizing it. And you're not allowing it to be that toddler running around with scissors in your head. You're saying, no, give me the scissors. Go sit down.
Oh.
And so we say it all the time, like shame lives in darkness.
Yeah.
So when we can bring it to light by expressing it, talking about it, acknowledging it without judgment, then the shame of it goes away. And we can just have an experience with it of like an unbiased experience. Or had a thought and you're just like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Or like you like see someone and you're like, you say something mean and you're like, who?
Yeah.
Wait. Like that happened the other day. And I was like, that's interesting. And then my next question was, where did that come from? You know, and I was watching this show that was kind of like a toxic show. And I'm like, oh, that's why my thought kind of had that moment. And it was just being able to label it and say, nope,
not doing that.
So good. All right. Next is let's purge your habits. Okay. So there's a lot of your daily routines that are draining you. Yeah. They're getting in the way of the version of yourself you want to be. Correct. Right. And it's funny because if you guys, for the listener, sit down and write down like what you do in a day, right? And be real with yourself. How much time are you spending on social media? How much time are you spending on games? What are other things like?
I would think like how much time you're spending on work when you're not getting paid for those hours, or you're not setting boundaries with them, or you're not delegating when you have subordinates. Well, that's coming from a place of me too. Like I oftentimes, and you're gonna, hit me, is because Mondays are it's very hard for me to connect with clients on Mondays.
Yeah, same.
And so like Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays are great because of audiology, so I can do it in between there. But Mondays and Wednesdays are very challenging, and Mondays I find almost like a crucial touch point day because it's coming after the weekend, because weight goes up every Monday, no matter what, because they feel their guilt and shame today.
Yep.
And so oftentimes like I find myself catching up with them and kind of prepping them Saturday and or Sunday and just being like, hey, like, cause I'm almost using those days as my Monday.
Right.
So that way, if I'm absent Monday for them, it's not like I'm not talking to them for 4 days, because to me, that's not acceptable as a coach.
Right.
But again, that's a boundary thing. And that's taking my habit, because it is becoming a habit now, and taking away time from other habits or other things that I could do on the weekend.
Yeah.
Now, before kids, I was like, nope, like I'm not doing that. But now that I have her, it's kind of like, well, that's something that I have to alter.
Right.
But even like you had talked about Mark
Mm-hmm.
waking up first thing in the morning, pulls out phone, looks at social media. And
He plays games.
Oh, he plays games.
Yeah.
What games?
Or reads.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So,
but he's reading on a tablet.
Well, so Michael first thing looks at his phone. And for me, right when I had the baby, I was doing that because it was just kind of like something to shut off.
Mm-hmm.
And so then as I'm like, I went back, started going back to work and whatnot. And it was like, okay, I could be like pumping right now, or I could be catching up with clients right now instead of just scrolling my phone.
Right.
And so you have to bring that awareness to that habit.
Yeah. My thing is I could get stuck. It's funny. I made a TikTok on this. Like I tell my clients to create healthy coping skills while I'm 3 hours into Karen's being arrested. It actually did really well. It's funny, but it was true. Cause I'm like, what am I doing here? Like I'm sitting and wasting time. And it's not time that I necessarily have. There's always something to do.
Well, even thinking about of like being on your phone in the gym and people are like, I don't have time for a workout, like, I can only do 5 minutes. It's like, that's fine, but put your phone away for the 5 minutes.
Right.
Because every time you pick it up and you're going through emails, you're replying to your boss, text, anything like that, that's taking away time. You're not setting boundary. And that becomes a habit of that all comes first before you. Mm-hmm. And that's what we're trying to work on with women.
I feel like time was so slow today, which was a good thing. Like I got through my workout, which felt like 30 minutes, but ended up being 50 minutes. But then I was still in my like kind of flow of the morning. It was really interesting. But what I noticed is when I'm doing filming in the gym or if I'm trying to work and you can't do it. So really sit down and like write out like what are you doing with your time, right? So you have your responsibilities, right? And then you have the things that you would like to get done. And then the things that are standing in the way of what you'd like to get done, right? So figuring out, okay, I do spend 30 minutes on social media each day. Rather than doing that or an effort to earn time on social media, I will use those 30 minutes to do a 30-minute workout, right? Or a 30-minute walk. Or I now play my Wordle games while I'm warming up on the treadmill. So I habit stack it, right? Where I'm like, okay, boom, 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 do my Wordle, do my warm up on the tread, get going. So really focusing on like what is keeping you numb, keeping you distracted or even dissociated. Like some people sleep and they say that they're tired, but am I really tired? Am I just kind of being like dissociating, numbing out? And what do I reach for when I don't want to feel, right? Because that's an indication of like, these are coping skills. When I used to watch TikTok and like kind of get stuck in it, it really was to like check out.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Whereas now I will go and I'll stand outside or I'll go play with the dogs. And then when I have done what I need to do, I'm also very much like blocking my schedule. Like everything is on my schedule. And that's a part of like some of the business programs I'm on, like really like get shit done time. There's get shit done time. There's time for client time. There's time for admin, time for myself. But there's also like little spaces where if I want to go on TikTok and like watch dogs, get rescued, I will do that for the 5 minutes rather than if I coping with it. That's going to be a much longer time.
Well, similar to what I talked about last week or 2 weeks ago, whatever, is like I was scrolling my phone at night and it was like, okay, that was fine in the beginning when you first had a baby because it was like, okay. But now we're kind of in the routine of things. She's getting older. There's a lot more almost like patterning that happens instead of just chaos of a newborn.
Yeah.
And me scrolling is not helpful for my sleep. But now it had become a habit over the last 4 months. So then it was like, well, let's try reading again, which was a habit that I had implemented years ago when I was scrolling my phone. I'm like, okay, I could read at night.
Right.
And so again, and that could be reading something light. It could be reading something educational, anything that works for you to just help kind of take away the habit of dissociating, of kind of just trying to numb out.
Right. Well, and looking at social media, looking at food, people will be doing something. And because they need to recharge, they need some energy, they need some time, they will go to the pantry and eat because they feel like that's what they do with their time. Right. Or they're coping. They think both, right? This is going to make me feel better. And, I'm doing something productive, which is eating, I guess. But also when we're looking at the habit detox, like you also want to look at where you're saying yes, where you shouldn't be saying yes, right? So I'm going to teach you guys 2 things real quick. The first is the Pomodoro technique, which we talked about when we had our little coaches Airbnb. Pomodoro technique. You set a timer for 25 minutes and you're just 25 minutes doing that work. Then you take a 5 to 10 minute break and then you repeat that 3 times. And then your third break is 30 minutes. Okay. And then you repeat. So if you look at your work day, so that's 25 minutes, 5 minutes, we'll say. So that's 30 minutes, 30 minutes, 30 minutes, 30-minute break. And usually if you have a good job, they should be giving you that 30 minutes or 50. It's usually 15 minutes, but you could still take a break at your desk and do something else. Then we do it again. We have lunch, do it again, another break, do it again. We're home, right? That's like a 9 to 5 job. You're being more productive with your time. You're allowing your mind to reset, right? By giving it that 5 to 10 minutes, which is going to be more productive with your time. It's like my mascara that I talked about on your Instagram.
Goopies. Yeah.
What?
Your goopies, like trying to get it.
Yes. Like I have this dry ass mascara that I kept using. And I'm like,
I don't know why
we all do it.
I know.
And I was like, this is so inefficient. And I was like, oh, bing. I was like, this is what we do.
Yeah.
We try to get all of the stuff out of the mascara rather than replenishing it, which is going to be more effective with our time. Because when we replenish it, it's 2 coats, we're out. And so the Pomodoro is going to help you replenish. Number 2, which you guys have heard here in regards to setting boundaries, we don't say yes to something if someone can do it themselves. We don't say yes to something if someone hasn't asked us directly. We don't say yes to something if it's going to make us feel stressed, rushed, sad, whatever afterwards. And we don't say yes to something if we're expecting something in return. Well, if I do this for them, then they'll do this for me. Right. That's an easy way to decide what should be in your life and what should not be. What you say yes to and what you don't. So 2 techniques you can walk away with.
Cool.
So speaking of people, the last one is your relationships, right? We're going to go there. Your nervous system doesn't lie. You know who makes you feel small, anxious, and drained. I know she doesn't listen to this, so I'm just going to be vulnerable. My mom cannot handle taking care of my dad. Yeah. She wants to be a caretaker, so she doesn't want anyone else to take that position from her. But when he needs something, she doesn't. She is mean. She's like, ugh.
How could you possibly be blind?
Yeah. Well, and then we keep reminding her he's blind. He doesn't see that you're sitting down and reading. He can't fucking see it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So to the point where my sister is like, I can't come. I need time. Yeah. And I was like, absolutely. I understand. When I'm there, he'll be like, oh, can I have da, da, da? It's draining. Yeah. When I'm there, it's draining. And I almost hate that I have to coddle her because he'll get upset if we bicker. And when I say bicker, guys, I don't bicker. I'm very straightforward. Yeah. And very honest. And she can't handle that. Right. And I don't coddle. I'm not going to rescue, not going to coddle, but it upsets him. So because he is in the state he's in, I have to, swallow my self, literally. I want to crawl into myself and just be there for him. And so I can only, and this is a shitty thing. And maybe you guys can help me out here who have been through this. I can only spend so much time with my dad because my mom drains me so much. And that's taking away with my time with my dad. And I almost want to have a conversation with her and be like, I need you to look at every decision you make and ask yourself, will this decision and how I'm treating him affect my relationship with my children after he's gone?
I don't think she has that capacity.
I know she doesn't. Yeah. But I want to tell her, do you want a relationship with us after this or not? Because my sister's my half sister. She's my dad's daughter. So she doesn't have to. Correct. So
nobody has to stay connected, but she really doesn't.
She'll lose her nephews, and I really want to say that because she's training everyone. except for my brother. For some reason, she listens to my brother, which is so annoying. I'm like, oh, you fucking you brag about the fact that I have a master's degree in therapy, but you don't listen to me. Like, it's nutsos. So, do you feel safe to be yourself around people? Are you there out of obligation? What are the people you need to purge? What do we need to either set a boundary with?
Right.
Do we need to have less interaction with? Or do we just need to let go of?
I mean, I think I do this a lot. And it, you know, for better and for worse for my own self too, is there is a lot of people that I've met over my life that over time I've just been like, you know, I'm okay.
Yeah.
Because it's mentally draining. And there's people like that you want to hear their struggle. Like, you know, like you call me, do you have time? Yep. Chat. Go ahead. What do you need?
Well, because we're respectful of each other's time.
But then there's people where you're like, so it's the same problem. And I've been that person where it's the same problem. Like I know exactly.
Right.
But there's also people where it's like, yes, it's the same problem, but I'm trying to dig myself out of it, or there's an attempt.
Right.
And I think if you're going into someone, like, for example, if you're making dinner plans with somebody and then you get to like Friday night and you're like, oh, then maybe that's a sign that we just don't. Right.
Yes. I do have I just tend to feel that a lot.
Yeah. Me
what
too.
What were we doing the other day? And I was like, why are you feeling so like about it? It wasn't even a person. I don't remember what it was.
Yeah.
It was just funny.
Like,
sometimes I feel that way about walking to Oso.
Yeah. Sometimes I just feel that way about like, you know,
whatever.
Well, even like, no offense, but like having a baby is pretty boring and it's pretty draining.
Being sober is pretty boring.
And then I'm sober on top of it.
Right.
Yeah. And so it's kind of like, you know, and I'm in my house a lot, which I like being home. So there's not a knock on that. But after a while, it's just like, you know, a couple Sundays ago, Michael and I just like did not want a kid. Like we were just like, fuck, you know, and that's if that was somebody else in my life, like somebody that I could choose to be around, right? I can't choose if I have, like, I can choose if I have a kid or not, but I can't at this point choose if I don't.
Yeah.
It's a little too late.
Right.
But like if it's somebody that is like, okay, then why are you doing this?
You need to protect your peace.
Yes.
I have talked to you guys about friendships on here, and one in particular that at this point in my life, I'm just not choosing to have.
No,
it's,
I will support that
1,000%. So pointless. I'm like, what am I trying to do here?
Right. And history doesn't mean I have to proceed.
Correct.
Because I think a lot of people get stuck on that, is that we've had this history together. You know, I've known her since high school, since we were young, since our moms grew up together. It's like, that doesn't mean anything.
Right.
It doesn't, you can be closer to someone that you have just met and connect really well with than that person that you have the history with.
Well, and I think too, if you're growing and they're not growing,
it's hard.
It's very hard.
Yeah.
Like me not drinking, like to my other friends, like whatever.
Yeah.
But I know that this particular person would make comments. Yeah. Oh yeah. Shoot, not towards me.
No, but
like
sidebars.
I would never do that.
Yeah. Okay. Don't. That's probably an issue.
That's crazy. I would never
Yeah.
like shit like that. And like, it wouldn't make me feel bad. And I'd be like, well, that's an interesting thing that you can't do. You have to protect your peace.
Yeah.
And I think you made a great point. Like even the person, I hear this all the time, like the person that you have that relationship with, or a person that's helped you a lot in the past.
Yes.
I see this with my clients. Well, I just feel so bad because she's been there for me.
So what?
That's great. Remember, we don't say yes if we're expecting something in return.
Correct.
Nor do we do for someone because they have done for us.
Correct.
If they're expecting something in return, that's a codependent relationship. So check yourself before you wreck
and you're
yourself.
going to be disappointed time and time again if they like, if that's your transaction of friendship.
Right. Exactly. I'm not sitting here like, oh, Amanda answered my call the other day. So I'm gonna
No. Like, and that's like the transaction of friendship. Like there is no keeping score. Like just like with your husband, you know, there is no, or your significant other, whether it's husband, wife, whatever. Like there is no score keeping. And I catch myself doing that too with Michael. And to be completely honest, and I have to tell myself like it doesn't matter because there's a lot I don't see that he does do. Right.
I do it too. I'm like, oh, I did the dishes. It's always the dishes. Like I did the dishes. Usually he does the dishes during the afternoon and then I do them in the evening. But sometimes the clutter thing, I don't like them.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Or I make this yogurt bowl that I freeze for 10 minutes. I'm like, I'll just get them done while I'm doing that. Cause then it makes the time go by fast because I love that freaking snack. So it's not abnormal to, well, he didn't do this. And the blanket. Yeah. I'm like, bro, just fold the blanket.
Dude, Michael, just put your take off your pants in the room, not in the living room. But every day I passively aggressively throw them in the office, and then he wonders where they are, and I go, I don't know.
I love it.
That's a game we play.
I love it. Good. Okay. All
right.
So after the purge, what happens when we declutter? We're gonna have mental fog lift, which I've just. So I think the reason I was struggling with mental fog is because my brain, Wellbutrin obviously is it's not an SSRI, it's a
MAOI,
maybe something like that.
Okay,
I should know this
acronym.
Yeah, and so obviously my brain chemistry is like being fucked with a little bit, and we're going to talk about burnout on our next episode, which talks about mental fog too. But
cool.
Once you can declutter your relationships, your mental health, your physical self, it'll just allow like the relationships to the space to kind of be just, it provides more space.
I would say it provides more clarity.
Yeah.
Like your mind. If you think about like how you feel after you get your workout done and clean like your environment, you're like, oh, great. Okay, I just feel so much lighter.
Yeah.
Or think about like that boyfriend that you finally blocked and deleted, right? And you're like, oh God, now I don't have to wonder.
The dating deja vu TikTok was, I'm bored. It's me
I saw
drinking
that.
a coffee.
What happened?
There was 210 comments. Yeah. Of women. Let's see if it's all like red flags that were obviously red, but I still walked through. Oh, I have to show you something too. So I have a lot of things to show you.
Okay.
You'll sleep better. You'll make clear decisions in your life. You'll know where everything's at.
Yeah.
That's nice.
I think you'll find more, because it's going to like habit stacking, but once you do one thing, like you're going to define more boundaries. You're going to find, like, my cousin is a great example right now, because she's in that time of like really being like, oh, it's kind of nice to live on your own and decide what you do and don't want to do, and to say no to stupid like dating scenarios and whatnot. Like she's just in that like heavenly spot.
Yeah.
And so I'm really trying to like
the Goldilocks.
Yeah, the Goldilocks spot of life. And I'm really trying to be like, you remember, like, this is the best time. Not that like in your 40s isn't the best time, or having kids isn't the best time, but there's just this point where you just grow so much. And I think if you're not present in that, you overlook that experience.
Living by myself.
And what you're like
watching whatever the fuck I wanted to.
Yeah.
I learned how to cook.
Yeah. That's what she's like, I like cooking. I didn't know I liked cooking.
Yeah. Because if you burn it,
who cares?
It's just you burning it. It's, just having those like, okay, I failed at that. Like, how can I learn? And like, I did that a lot when I lived by myself.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
and so that's why I'm like telling, and she's finding out like, because there's this group that when she first moved to where she's at, that she was hanging out with, and then she would kind of pull apart. I'm like, you need to stop hanging out with them. They do a bunch of drugs that you don't want to be doing.
Yep.
They're not really doing anything. They're kind of in their older 30s. So it's getting a little sketchy, at that point. And the girls they bring around like are kind of just slutty girls, I'm like, that's not who you want to be with. Like, they were great for the first year now. And so it's like, once she's dumped them, now her kind of life has kind of gotten to this new stage of like finding better, more quality people, taking time for herself, not like staying up till 3 a.m, doing weird shit. And so I'm like, that's essentially what we're telling y'all to do.
You reconnect to what matters, right? She's creating that version of herself, and she's not letting energy leak into areas that like don't serve her.
Yes.
And that's what it's about, baby. Realigning your life, about choosing to carry less so you finally can become more of who you are. So for you, again, we've got a ton of information in here. We have the Pomodoro technique. We'll link that. We'll link the 4 rules for caretaking, and just think about, okay, for the physical self, picking that one area, cleaning it out, whatever that looks like, just make that commitment to yourself and asking yourself those questions around your mental space. Does this create alignment, clarity, and just health in general? So I hope you guys enjoyed this information. If you like this podcast and you know someone who needs to declutter, please share this. Sharing this podcast is free, but it helps us tremendously, as well as 5-star ratings and reviews. Make sure you subscribe if you're watching this on YouTube. Make sure to hit that notification bell so you know when we are showing up in your feed, as well as make sure you're following us wherever you listen to this podcast. And we're going to leave you the same way we do every podcast and say,
what you say in the mind,
you see in the mirror.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.